Deal. All right. Welcome, everyone. This is the first episode of new series that me and my friend Scott are gonna create. It's called Co-Conspirators.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, you want to introduce yourself?
So this is our first time uploading. We're gonna be talking about controversial topics and, just a lot of stuff from, a different perspective.
Yeah, a lot.
Like my friend introduced me, my name is Scott, and yeah.
Sorry for that. My name's Daniel. But either way, the thing is, man, it's not. It's controversial. Yeah. Also, we're gonna talk about some stupid stuff. Like we're gonna have animal fight night. You know, have tournament
Yep.
stuff. Just have animal fight. Just massive animals up too. It's stupid things like that. I mean, this is for fun. We're just gonna do it, talk about it. Of course, as our fan base continues to grow, hopefully we'll have some guests on this show. First off, we have some friends of ours on.
Yes.
Then as time goes on, people will have a little bit more. People will be open to be on this show. We can have debates.
And
You know.
for me, a personal goal for me is to interview a porn star and get
My God,
their
what is your
opinion
problem? What is your problem?
get their opinion on their thoughts about the industry that they work in. Also,
I'm
we
gonna disregard that.
play games
Yeah,
while
we're gonna play in the
we play
background. I mean,
games while
while we
we
talk.
talk.
Yeah, I mean,
And if you guys let us know if you want to see us play or just a black screen or a
yeah,
picture,
you guys can really choose. I mean, we're totally open to suggestions in every way. Whatever you guys want. Either way, as time goes on, hopefully more and more people watch, more and more suggestions, more
yeah.
and more things, more and more topics. Um, uh,
But
guys,
I think for the first episode, I think Daniel,
oh
is it
yeah,
just gonna be a black screen?
no, we'll just do this, bro. We'll just do the. I mean, we'll see, but we'll figure it out when we upload it. We already have our thumbnail. You'll see it before you click on the video, obviously. But the thing we're gonna start off with talking today, we talked about it. So we think it's a 9/11, one of the most controversial things. Now we're not here to piss anyone off. We're just giving our opinions on what we believe
Yes,
happens and what things happens. Of course, it was incredibly tragic, and normal people
of course.
were affected by that. It's especially with YouTube, it's a little touchy with what goes on.
Yes.
But for us, honestly, the thing is that we have our opinions. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know 100%
Remember,
Scott.
remember, it's our opinion.
Yeah,
We're
and I mean,
entitled to it. So
we 100% believe in freedom of speech. Well, I believe
also,
that if you have an opinion on something, you can voice it 100%. I mean, I might not agree with you, but I'm not gonna be like, oh fuck you, The thing is with us is just that we hope that people can understand we're giving our opinion on it, and this is the point of the show. We're gonna talk about things like that, Bigfoot,
you know, yeah.
9/11, shit like that. I mean, it's
Also a
called
bunch of
co-conspirators. I
really
mean, what
dumb
do you think?
stuff.
Yeah, also really dumb stuff. But I mean, so we hope no offense. I mean, of course, it was sad, it was tragic. I'm not gonna say anything else about it, how it affects people, because obviously it's obvious it was sad, it was tragic, it was horrible, it was horrific. I mean, it was sucks. But I believe, in my opinion, that it could have been an inside job.
Yes. Also, a big part of you know this new thing that we're trying out is that um we can't reveal our full names mainly because
Yeah.
we're not 18
Shut. They're not.
and
They don't
this
have
is
to know that you
just
dumb. Oh my god. I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna edit that out. I'm gonna edit that out. Jeez.
but it's also mainly for viewers to be able to see what the perspective is from a teen and try and help people think of how we think and how our generation
Um.
thinks a lot of the time.
I'm not so much that. The reason, I mean, it adds a little bit of mystery, in my opinion, and I don't want to get jumped by 20 people because I said something about something to disagree with. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just we gotta not show our faces.
Yes.
But if the time comes, you guys ask your faces, we won't say no. We have nothing to hide. If people be like, "Oh, you pussies," and if you meant it, you'd show your face. It's not so much that, It's just that,
Like,
we'd rather
we
not.
can give descriptions of ourselves for now, but I don't think we should do that right now.
No, I mean, that's not important, Scott. Either way, my opinion on this specific topic is that it was an inside job. Multiple architects have talked about it, have discussed that there was no way that that building could have organically fallen into itself that way,
Mhm.
just from an airplane crash. And there are multiple things about how like, workers stated that weird people would go into the job, into the building with like a bunch of wires, a bunch of weird things. I forgot who specifically. I mean, Scott, if you want to give your opinion on this while I do some research, you can totally do it.
I truly do believe that it is an inside job because there's been many reconstructions of how it happened, and that doesn't necessarily mean that inside job that I think it means that they had someone on the inside, maybe someone manipulating inside of the government. I don't necessarily think that the government itself, the U.S., did it so it would lose people. When I hear inside job, I believe that it meant that someone infiltrated inside and had a hand within the government.
Yeah.
That's my opinion,
Mhm.
and one of the main reasons I do believe that is because I forgot where, but in this documentary, when they were studying and recreating models of the Twin Towers and how it could have gone down, and every single model, and you have to understand these are like scientists. It didn't
Not
collapse.
science, architects.
It was
Architects.
impossible for and they did it in snow. They used a model airplane and they used snow. And snow's not that strong. I mean, it's not ice, but it's not water. It's not strong. And
Hmm.
they would throw it, and they would test it, and it was just impossible. It would not collapse.
What you said about they're scientists, they're architects. Just a little
Yes.
correction, but their jobs, I mean, their entire lives have been surrounded around construction. They know what's talking about. Also, like I was talking about earlier, I have it here. Scott Forbes, or Forbes, I'm not really sure how you pronounce that. He was a former employee that worked at the World Trade Center. He said that there that he thinks that there were explosives planted before because he's seen things that before the events, the attacks, he said there was a complete power downs of the building. Like the power would just shut down out of nowhere. There was no explanation given to them. Just the what power would go out of nowhere for a good amount of time. Like sometimes up to 36 hours. The weekend before the attacks, there were mysterious engineers supposedly that had spools of wires and stuff like that working on the buildings just days before. Bomb sniffing dogs were removed from the complex before the power down, even though that the buildings had been on high alert. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, normal situations would not call for that type of action. If it was an inside job, the dogs would not be removed. There wouldn't be mysterious engineers with spools of wire, and there wouldn't be power downs for no reason. I mean, what else? How does that help? How does that increase security? That makes no sense. I mean, if it
Yeah.
was an inside job, explain that. I mean, there is no explanation. They didn't give their own workers. He says he doesn't know why there were power downs. They never gave it a reasonable explanation. So,
Yeah. Also, and you watch the videos of
hmm
the plane crashing. It looks like it's just going through the building, and then you just see a massive explosion. Like it
exactly,
doesn't.
exactly, yeah. They said that it was the jet fuel, some shit. I mean, it doesn't happen
Yeah,
like that.
it stated that the jet fuel melted the beams of the building, which caused the collapse. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams; it
Mm-mm,
melts iron beams,
mm-mm.
and they were using steel. So, it, I think if it was iron, it would have been a really good cover up. But the fact of the matter is that it was made out of steel.
Yeah.
And also, guys, if we say something wrong, like I'm not saying something that you don't agree with, I'm saying something that's factually incorrect, please let us know.
Oh yeah. Of course, I'm trying to research this. I'm trying to get as accurate as possible. Of course, people make mistakes. I might not be 100% sure. Don't if it's not right, they correct us, please. I mean, we're asking for that. But I mean, if just because you're offended, you're like, that's wrong. Shut the fuck
Just
up. Like, just don't
make
even
sure
try.
it's constructive
Yeah.
criticism.
But another thing was that like George Bush. I can't remember 100% well. I saw this a little bit back. Can't remember 100% what really happened in that situation. What I remember was that a kid asked George Bush um how he had found out about the attacks. No, what? No, shit. I'm not gonna say that. I don't even remember. I'm sorry. I just remember like they remember George Bush like said like he's seen them, but like they weren't televised. I don't know. I have no idea how that shit went down. No, like he saw like the first attack, but like the first attack wasn't televised. The second attack was, because on the news like you could see it live when the second plane went into the building, and and I think he said like, oh, I saw both planes go into buildings, even though like only the second one was televised. Pretty sure that was it.
Yeah.
And like, another thing, the a guy. So, let me look. Sorry, Scott, talk while I look this up because there's someone. There's nothing.
But yeah, like, I just don't think. I'm pretty sure that terrorists did take control over the planes, and I mean we know they did. Um, but I mean we've seen this before. So for all we know, the government
Oh,
could have
hello.
kept them.
No, I mean there's something else about that, but here I have something that said that over 3,000. I mean 3,000 isn't around like a little bit of people. It's not like a small pit. It's 3,000 engineers and architects.
Hmm.
These are people whose lives who are completely focused on buildings, construction. I mean they're not just some fucking dumbass on the street with a cardboard box or a sign saying, oh, 9/11 wasn't your job because I don't know. These are people who know what we're talking
Yes.
about. They spent their entire lives dedicated to things like this. They analyze the footage. Sorry, fuck. They analyze
No,
the footage. They look at this, they see it, and they all say it's impossible for the towers to have fallen due to just the one plane crash. It says one of them, Kamal B. I'm not sure that's how to pronounce it. If I mispronounced it, I'm sorry. He says a localized failure in a steel framed build. Sorry, I'll repeat that. My tongue is fucked up right now. A localized failure in a steel-framed building cannot cause a catastrophic collapse like a house of cards at free fall acceleration. Scott
yes.
Granger. All three collapses were very uniform in nature. Natural collapses due to unplanned events are not uniform. Daniel Barnum. I have known from day one that the buildings were imploded and could not have collapsed from the damages caused by airplanes. They're all saying they're all saying the same thing. It could not have uniformly fallen that way. All right, it was not a natural collapse. It's no way. They all say the same thing. They all have models. They've given out
And
footage.
one of
What's
the
up?
main reason people think that it was an inside job and that there was bombs planted like inside of the building and around, because if you look at the towers collapsing, it collapses into itself. It doesn't fall. Or if you ever have seen one of those videos where they're destroying a building to build a new one where it was in a city, it can be anywhere. When it falls in sort of a wave going down. But when you're watching the 9/11 footage, it's a tall tower. But
Yeah. Oh,
the
definitely. Fuck yeah.
thing
It was
is,
one of the tallest.
from
You
the
know?
from the middle top where the plane hit, it starts going
Oh,
down
here.
into itself. It's
Here it is.
almost as if a giant rock is falling down each layer. It's just not possible for that unless it was
Yeah.
bombs.
I mean, yeah.
A
So
single
yeah.
plane cannot do that.
Also, they say Jeffy was strong enough to melt the steel.
Yeah.
Oh, for another thing I found here was that we was talking about earlier. Months before the attacks, Larry Silverstein, he purchased the World Trade Center, and immediately purchasing it, he also purchased terrorism insurance, and requested that if the buildings were attacked, he would receive an instant cash payout. This was just months before the attacks. He ate breakfast in his own building every morning. It was called Windows on the World. I'm pretty sure most of you have heard about that. Not about this, but most of you heard about the restaurant. But he ate breakfast there every morning in his own building every day. The day of the attacks, he wasn't there. The same day, his daughter, who worked there, didn't show up. The day that they were destroyed, 3,000 innocent people died, and he walked away with 4.5 billion. I repeat, $1 billion in insurance money. Okay, $4.5 billion in insurance money. Months before the attacks, he bought it, got instant cash payout from terrorism attacks, and the day that it happens, he's not there. His daughter isn't there. 3,000 people are now dead. Who knows how many families have been torn apart from that? And he walks away with $4.5 billion in insurance money.
And I mean, just that just screams insurance fraud. That
Oh yeah, I mean it just shows. I mean there's no way that this was 100% unplanned. I mean, I'm not saying specifically one group. I'm not gonna say, oh, I know the government for a fact did it or this group did it. It's just that in no way was this 100% unplanned, unorganic. Sorry, organic, natural. This was planned to a certain extent. I don't know if
yeah.
it was just him and everything else is coincidences. If he paid the engineers that the workers saw, if he was the one who did everything and the government had nothing to do with it, I doubt that. I really do. It could be though. But if there's just no way that this was 100% organic, this was unplanned, this was uninvented, it can't be that way. I mean, look at all the evidence, all the facts. I mean, it's just not that way. And I honestly do feel for the 3,000 people who were affected on that day. I mean, 3,000 people died, and who knows how many people, maybe double that, hell, triple, were affected. I mean, even people who didn't know people. Like, I mean, look at the amount of security at airports now. Look at the amount of security in government buildings, in museums. I mean, I'm not sure museums, but being like, there's so many places where now it takes so much more time to get through it because of that. You know, it's so much more security, which I mean isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, more security is okay, but it wouldn't have to be that way if these people didn't plan this, if these people didn't make this happen. You know, people wouldn't have to feel scared. They wouldn't have to feel like there was a need for more security if this didn't happen, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure there's still people who lost children, who lost mothers, fathers, who lost grandparents. I don't know,
Yeah,
and they're still
and you know,
scarred to this
one
day.
person. Yeah, and you know, one person affects many
I mean,
people.
many people. I mean, it's a ripple effect. I mean, you drop a rock in the water, what's going to happen? It's going to ripple. It's going to affect the area around it, you know? And in this case, it was the whole world.
Let's say you lose one of your parents. You
Hmm.
one of your parents. It can be someone's cousin, someone's uncle,
Someone's brother,
your
someone's,
cousin.
you know,
Yes,
whatever. I
someone's son.
mean, brother, sister, whatever the hell you want. I mean, it's son, brother, sister, cousin. I mean, there's so many people. Even if it was just one person killed in that event, it would be no, but it was 2,999 more people than one person. You know, I mean, I don't know the exact amount of people, but I mean, dude, there was children lost, there was parents, there was cousins, like you said, Scott, there was uncles, cousins. I mean, the amount of people, and you just the impact. You know, I mean, this. Like you said, you drop a pebble in the water, it's gonna ripple. I mean, this was a huge boulder in the fucking ocean, and the entire world was affected.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, this just totally sucks. And I don't know. But like I'm saying, there's just no way that this organically happened. This was a natural event, that this was unplanned, because there was just too many factors at play here that prove it was not that way. I believe the government was involved in it, yes. I believe that multiple people were also involved in it who also benefited, like Larry Silverstein, who got $4.5 billion in insurance money at the cost of 3,000 innocent lives.
Yeah,
So this was
for me,
not.
yeah. I think that the government was involved,
Yeah, I do
but
too,
in
but
a
I
different
mean,
way. I believe that, you know, let's say, in my mind, this is what I think happened. There's probably no evidence for it, but this is what I choose to believe. I think that the way the government was involved was that some terrorists contact, the government, and they
mhm,
told them what they were going to do, and I think that they told the government some benefits that would come from this money, starting the terrorist war, so much
mhm.
that would happen, bringing money. I think that's how the government got involved. I don't, and also I don't think they had a choice because hundreds of planes go out every day. Well, not anymore because
No,
of
yeah, but just
coronavirus.
yeah, sure, sure. Don't even. Oh my god, you just ruined the chance of getting monetized. Don't say. Just say like the pandemic, because if you say that
Oh,
virus, they can get fucked over by YouTube.
the
The virus. Just say the
oh
just say the
yes.
pandemic. Fuck it, the
Anyways,
pandemic.
um, but yeah, for all we know, the government didn't have a choice for it. But I do believe that the government was involved,
I'm not.
and I think they
Okay.
knew what they were doing when the plane crashed in buildings.
For me, I'm not sure about they had no choice. I'm not really so sure about that. like, I mean, it could. I don't know, man. I'm not in the fucking government. I don't know, but I doubt it was like they didn't have a choice. But one thing that obviously makes me believe that the government was involved was that or the day before the events of 9/11, Donald Rumsfeld announced to the public that the Pentagon could not account for 2.3 trillion, Scott, $1 trillion, and the next day that it was hit, the Pentagon was hit on Earth. I'm sorry, the most guarded building on Earth was hit, which is the Pentagon, and there was no footage of it. You know. So that makes me also believe that the government was involved in what happened, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of times that similar things have happened. I mean, when the CIA got, involved with the Nigerian, some country from Africa,
What?
and they were importing tons of cocaine and
No,
drugs
that was
straight to the West.
Colombia. That was Colombia,
No,
not fucking
this
Africa.
was a country from Africa.
What?
Trying
Which
to
one?
collapse your country.
I've never heard. I've never heard of that.
From Africa.
Wait, tell me more. I've never heard of that ever. What are you talking
The
about?
guy that is in the CIA was also the one that was involved with Epstein, and that's the reason that Epstein was, well, I believe, was
Whoa,
and
I've
that's a different topic that we'll talk
that
about.
we'll talk about that later on. For that's no, for me, I've never heard about what you're talking. I've heard that the CIA has been accused of like importing drugs from Colombia. You know, like Barry Seal was someone who was importing drugs from Colombia to the United States of America. There's a lot of things about that. Some people said, I mean, he was killed by the cartel, but some people said the own government killed him. People, I know he was like something involved in that. What I've heard is that the CIA has been in it has known about the import, and they've actually been supporting it in order to destroy communities like the African American community, the crack epidemic that happened here in Los Angeles. You know, there was like an epidemic of people using drugs. I've heard about that. There's someone, Gary Webb, who had kind of uncovered the truth about that. He was trying to expose them. He ended up dead with 2 gunshots in his head, and it was ruled a fucking suicide. How does that work? How do you shoot yourself twice in the head? No, it's not even like, it's a double barrel shotgun. No, it wasn't a shotgun. It was a pistol. It was a 9mm pistol that was used, and it was 2 shots in the back of his head. In the back of his head, and it was ruled a suicide. I mean, how does that even work? You know,
unless you create, a contraption that would fire.
How about why would he need to do that?
Exactly.
And even then, I doubt that would actually happen.
Let's say he created something to pull the trigger of the pistol. I mean, that it's possible. If you watch Mythbusters, they do that all the time. But to make another contraption that will hold you up, and then having to press the own button for it to shoot the pistol twice, I mean, it's just not possible. You can't do that.
Yeah, and the thing for me, like you said, it's just not. I mean, like you said, it's possible. All that shit, the Mythbusters, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't think he would. What the hell would he have benefit from them finding him with 2 gunshots? And like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So obviously he was killed, and they tried to make it a suicide. So I mean, that's fact. You can't deny that. No matter how you want to look at that, you can't deny that he wasn't killed. Like that's just beyond fucking obvious.
He lost his life.
And if you want to say, oh, he did kill himself, he just made a contraption, like, dude, you just don't want to believe at that point what the hell was going on.
But going back on the topic,
going back to what we're talking about,
a lot of money was involved with.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that because the world runs on money. There's barely any decent people.
Who aren't actually the cash, Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't consider myself a decent person, but
well, I mean, I know. Okay, I mean, obviously, I know you, Scott. I mean, you're not a bad person anyway, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, look at it any way you want. Why do you think rich people can always find a way to get themselves out of trouble? What do you need for you to? I mean,
why do you think that
out of the courthouse without going to prison, or I'm sorry, jail? Or,
same fucking shit, man.
And then going to prison,
I mean, why do you think rich women can get away with murder. You know.
Exactly.
I mean, because they one. Okay, we'll talk about this in another episode, course, about females having more fucking like, not power. Oh yeah, power than men in multiple situations. But you know, people with money obviously they control the world, and like you know, people who have the cash to do something they will. You know, get out of jail free card is a dollar bill. So
Exactly.
obviously, if there was money involved, if the government could benefit, which they did, $2.3 trillion, they benefited from that. Of course, that they're gonna do it. I mean, even at the expense of people's innocent lives who are suffering, who are have. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the deaths of people from the 9/11 were caused other deaths. I mean, I think at least a few people have committed suicide because of that. I mean, that's sad. I hate
Yeah.
that. I believe I don't want to get religious here, but I do believe that when you kill yourself, you go to hell.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just my belief system. Of course, you can disagree with that, but I mean, I believe that when you kill yourself, you go to hell. And
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure at least one person has when they find out their son, their dad, their mom, their grandpa, their cousin, their uncle, whatever it was that will die. I'm pretty sure like, you know what, what's the point of living? I mean, it's not even brothers and sisters or husbands, wives. You know, what I mean, let's say like your husband died, your wife died, and like that was love of your life. That was who
Yeah.
you were meant to be with. That's the person who understood you. That's the person you were like, oh, I want to die with them. And now when you find out they're dead, you're like, oh, well, I'll die with them too. And they put a gun to their head and they pull a trigger.
And also,
And
you know, how many people we've seen this happen before, you know, how many people die, you know, shortly after one of their loved ones died
yeah, heartbreak.
just by heartbreak.
Yeah,
Exactly. You know, there's no real explanation. They pass away. We've seen this with animals. Animals that need, you know, constant company or they'll die.
they'll die. Yeah,
We we've seen this.
yeah, we
You know,
have.
how many people that this isn't documented about, like, how many people that died from
Yeah,
heartbreak,
because they're not gonna.
from being unable to see your loved one have passed away from
Yeah,
this incident.
they're not gonna like. They're not gonna. Oh my god, we just had a brain fart. They're not gonna like report every single person that died after that from heartbreak, from suicide, because I mean there's a point in it. But I mean there has to be at least one case, at least. I'm sorry, not at least one, at least like 10 cases of people who died from heartbreak, from suicide, or they died from something affected by that. You know, they got affected by that and they just can't live. You know, and it's
Yeah.
incredibly sad. I feel 100% for them, and it makes me sick to my fucking stomach that people in the government, like people like Sarah Silverstein, would rather see a few billion in a bank account than think about the amount of people they affected, the amount of people that are now dead in the ground, the amount of people outside of that who have also died because of heartbreak, because of suicide, who are not suffering, who are now affected, and they can't see their son,
Yeah.
their wife. I mean, there's so many people, you know, nephews. I mean, there's just so many. You know, what do you call that? You call that what's an uncle like? What do you call that?
A niece,
No, I mean like no, I mean like
your aunt,
no,
your
like
uncle,
what do you call it? Like, uncles, aunts, dads, mom, like
your relatives.
yeah, sorry, I think like there's so many relatives that are there that you don't know, and it's just like dude, like there's probably twice the amount, triple the amount of people were affected by that. You know, it was just
Yeah.
sick, and it's sad. You know, and there's nothing we can really do about it except hope that nothing like that happens again. You know, that's all we can do. Just hope. That's all there is. Hey man, did you take my pork chops in here?
Hey, don't worry about that. I have not seen your pork
No,
chops.
I got them. I got them. Either way, dude. I'm on. So yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's incredibly sad. I mean, think of it, dude. I mean, the amount of people who are now affected.
Mhm.
But yeah, so like we were talking about, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's so much more evidence to prove that.
Yeah.
Um,
Daniel, so how much time are we at?
I'm not really sure. I can't even tell you that. Hold up. So there's like another thing that I saw here was that in the stock market, like a lot of people put options. Hold up. So like a lot of people put options, like they put stock on another airline, American Airlines. So when both those airlines were hijacked, many people like benefited from it. So it wasn't just Larry Silverstein. It wasn't just the government. A lot of stock market people benefited from that too. So it
Yeah.
just like makes you think, how do they know? How would they know to put money into that and benefit?
Daniel, excuse me. I'll be back.
Hold up, okay, just give me a second. I'm also getting something. So it's time for us to. I think it's time. So I have to go.
To end the episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for everyone for tuning in, for listening to this episode, this file. We'll try to upload as much as possible, and thank you for listening in. We appreciate everyone who subscribes and everyone who watches, and we'll see you next time.
Mhm. Thank you. Bye.